The NCKU Envision the World lecture series. This series is part of the NCKU Eagle project, and today is our first talk of the lectures. The title for today's lecture is A Global Citizens in the 21st Century. A Global Citizens in the 21st Century. The speaker today is a speaker who needs no introduction. In fact, he is no stranger to our students. Last year, around the same time, he also provided a talk to our series. And his talk has inspired so many students. Many students wrote feedback notes to their teachers. Allow me to read only a couple of these many sample notes. I want to thank you for setting aside your precious time to give a lecture to us. The lecture makes deep impression on me, and I would like to express my thoughts on some of the concepts you mentioned. First, second, third, and finally, the above words are my humble opinions, and hopefully, Mr. President can give another lecture for us someday. And another student wrote, your speech did give me many thoughts. Here, I want to express my gratitude to you because this speech reminds me to do some meaningful things for my future and not to just waste time doing some unhelpful things. And I also thank you to give me a good English lesson. I'm sure after the talk today, you'll feel the same as these writers. Say no more, wait no longer. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our speaker today, the one and only President of National Chenggu University, Dr. Michael Minzhao Lai.
Thank you very much, Professor Zhou, for your kind introduction. I do need introduction because when I walk around the campus, very few students will say hi to me. But I think most of students do not recognize me as the president of your president. So I do need an introduction. I think this is a very good opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Michael Lai. I have been the president of this university for a little bit over a year. I taught in the University of Southern California for 35 years before I came back 5 years ago to be the vice president of Academia Sinica in Taipei. And then I moved on to National Chenggu University last year to be your president. So I hope that now you recognize me as your president. You will say hi to me when the next time you see me on the campus. So then today I'm going to share with you some of the very urgent issues, that is the globalization. The title of my talk is To Be a Global Citizen in the 21st Century. So globalization, global probably is the most common word today, everywhere. Everybody's talking about globalization and talking about internationalization. Next slide, please. So next slide, please. So internationalization and the globalization. So these are the two words that are most often used everywhere. So let me define briefly what is the internationalization, what is the globalization. Actually, these two words are commonly used interchangeably. But to me, actually, these two words mean two different things. First is globalization. Everybody has, probably many of you have read the book called The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman. How many of you have read this book? If you have read this book, raise your hands. Very good. 世界是平的，不过的。世界是平的，世界是平的，有没有? How many of you have read the book? Okay, not too many of you have read the book, but this is a wonderful book. I think it's an eye-opening book for the people in the 21st century. What this word means, the title means the world is flat, means that everybody, everywhere in the world are connected to each other. So the world is like a flat, everybody's on the flat surface. So everybody can compete with each other and can compete against each other. So like a person in India. The book uses example in a small company or a small village in Bangalore, India, can work for a company in the United States. So you can see, even though this person has never been visited the United States, has never seen an American employer, and yet he or she working in a small village in India can work for a United States company. When I was in the United States, when I want to call my telephone company because I had some problem with my telephone bills, so I called the operator, called the telephone company. The operator picked up the phone, and when I talked to her, I immediately realized that this is a person who is in India. She pretended to be an employee. She actually is the employee of the telephone company in the United States. But when I called the United States and telephone company in California, the person who answered the phone actually is in India. You can hear that. You can immediately realize that because this person has an Indian accent, although the accent is very mild. So you see, this person actually sitting in a small village in India, and she is answering the phone call for the United States and for a company in the United States. Again, last time I had a problem with my internet connection. I want to solve the problem, so I called the telephone company again. Again, there's a technician answering my phone, and this again is a she. She asked me, she told me step by step how to solve the problem. So you punch this key, and punch that key, and then enter this word, and in 10 minutes I solved the problem. But this person actually is also in India, and she's answering phone for a company in the United States. So this is the example of globalization. Means that everybody in the whole world is connected. It's in a on the flat surface. You can work and connect it to each other. So this is the global village, So the world everywhere is connected. So that means that everybody has equal opportunity everywhere. In the entire small village in Taiwan, small village in India, small village in China, and everybody can work for a company, the international company, and somewhere else in the world. And this person has never been visited the United States, and yet he or she is working for a company in the United States. So this is the meaning of the global village. But this person actually does not understand the United States, does not have the concept of internationalization. So this is globalization. But that also it means that everybody is everywhere in the world has opportunities. But that, on the other hand, that also means nobody in the world can insulate yourself from the outside competition. Even though you cannot hide in a small corner in Taiwan, in China, in India, and say that, okay, I'm not going to collaborate with you. I'm not going to be exposed to the outside world, because the outside forces, the virtual connections, will expose yourself, whether you like it or not. So you cannot run away from the international competition. So this is globalization. That it means that the geographical sense that everybody is connected and also exposed. The internationalization has different meaning. Internationalization actually means you understand the culture and exchange the cultures and knowledge. Okay. So to become good global citizens through internationalization, you have to understand the international culture, foreign cultures, and to connect it to other people in order to be a good competitors and to be a good global citizen. So, and this is, I think, to me, internationalization is an understanding of the foreign cultures, and that is the true internationalization. And not only globalization. But every country now realize that internationalization is critical for the country's success in the 21st century. So there is a strong competition, the international competition to become international. Every country wants to be international, wants to understand foreign culture, wants to be connected to international community. Only when you do this can you become really become global. So every country is doing that. Every country. I just in the last 2 weeks also, I attended 2 meetings sponsored by a British Council. British Council is a non-profit organization set up by British government. And the British government held 2 symposia, 2 different meetings, one in Tokyo. And the theme of this meeting is called Universities in a Globalized World, inviting many university presidents from Southeast Asia. And also myself and a couple other university presidents from Taiwan. And yesterday I attended a meeting sponsored by the British Council in Taipei, and that is connecting biological scientists from UK and from Taiwan. So you can see, and that's very unusual for British government to do this kind of things, because British government used to be not so friendly to Taiwan, because they are really the pro mainland China. So before they cared less about Taiwan. But now in the last couple of weeks, they invited official from the Ministry of Education from Taiwan, and connected and trying to establish relationship between the scientists, between scientists in Taiwan and scientists in the UK, trying to make the connection. So you can see that even the British government realized that even though there's no official diplomatic relationship between the UK and Taiwan, they want to become connected between the people. So there's a very strong competition, international competition, to be international. So I hope that this is my concept about the internationalization and globalization. Next slide. Yes. So our university also wants to be international, because there is a hallmark of a successful top university in the world. So recently I wrote an NCKU a mission statement for our university. And our university mission statement says that to preserve Tainan's heritage as Taiwan's cultural capital, while aspires to become a full-fledged, internationally renowned university. NCKU cultivates future leaders with creativity, humanism, global vision, and profound social concerns, and develops transdisciplinary researches for the benefit of society and humanity. So you can see in this mission statement, you can see the words internationally renowned. And you can see the word global vision. So you can see the international and global. So that means ultimately the Cheng Kung University will be very active in promoting internationalization, so that the university can become a top global university. Next slide, please. So what is a global university? That is what our university aspire to be. What is a global university? First, it has to have the global brand name recognition. Means everybody in the world, many people in the world have heard of Cheng Kung University, know that Cheng Kung University. So it's a global standing, a global brand name and recognition. Of course, Cheng Kung University is very hard to pronounce, so very few people can pronounce Cheng Kung University. But hopefully, that when our university reaches the level of the top university, then everybody, when the Cheng Kung University, that can be very easily pronounced, or it is NCKU. When you talk about NCKU, people know that, that there is a very good university. There is a university in Tainan, in Taiwan. It's a good university. There's a brand name recognition. Like everybody talk about Harvard, you don't need to explain what Harvard is and the Cambridge is. You don't need to explain that. So hopefully one day, the Jengon University, NCKU, will reach that level. The NCKU, you don't need to explain anymore. The second point is that for the global university is a comprehensive excellence in teaching, research, and faculty and students. Have a good faculty and good students and do well in teaching and research. The third point is that a global university has to do research on important global issues, and the results of the researches can make an impact on the world. And everybody wants to cite your research results. Your research results can be applied and can be used to solve the global problems. So and that is the hallmark of another hallmark of global university. And then also the global export of teaching and learning. I use the word export, means our teaching expertise, our research expertise can be used to help other countries, help us other countries. Like that's what that's what United States have been doing for the last 50, 60 years, because every student in the world wants to go to the United States, wants to attend the universities in the United States. That is, the United States, although are not actually exporting the universities to the different countries, but they take the foreign students to United States and universities. So that is equivalent to the export of the education, export of the research and the research expertise of the research experience. So this United Kingdom is doing this while the British government spends so much money in promoting the university. They're promoting Cambridge, they're promoting Oxford, they're promoting imperial colleges, so that the students will go to the university to study, to research. So when our university is that good, then everybody will come to the NCKU to study, to do research, and that is equivalent to the export of education expertise. And then it has to have the strong international student demand. There is every student in the world who want to come to our university and to study. Again, that is equivalent because of the good global brand name recognition. And finally, it has to have the close interactions with the global business. That means the business and big corporations want to work with NCKU, want to work with the professors or students in our university. So you can see, again, this is what I view as the global hallmarks of the global university. We wanted to become the top-notch university, and our universities recently have received special funding from the Ministry of Education, the so-called 5-year 50 billion year project. 5 年500亿 50 billion project. There is Ministry of Education hope that Jengon University will become one of the top universities, one of the global universities. So these are the goals for our university in the next 5 years or to 10 years or so. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so as a global university, top university, we must train the global citizens. Our graduates will become good global citizens. So what kind of graduates we want to train? In the 21st century, the qualities of the good citizens are different from the qualities of the good citizen in the 21st century. Because the words are quite different. Because the knowledge the accumulation of knowledge progresses so fast, so rapidly. Now it's impossible for everybody to know everything. And so it's impossible for everybody to learn everything you want to learn in your lifetime. So in the college now becomes, we have to train different types of people so that these graduates can adapt to the rapidly changing world of the 21st century. So in the 21st century, as global citizen, what kind of qualities do a global citizen have to have? And first of all, of course, in the past, we think that a person must have a good IQ, but intelligent quotient. But in 21st century, the most important things is not only IQs, but the EQ, MQ, and AQ. What are the EQ, MQ, AQ? EQ, we call it emotion and quotient. That is how to handle your emotion, and that is very important. MQ, just moral quotient, good moral values. And AQs, attitude or adversity and quotient. That is how to, your attitude toward different things, your attitude of dealing with different people. And I feel that adversity actually is better than attitude. That is your attitude under the adverse conditions. When you encounter the adverse situation, how do you handle that situation? And there is a situation where you expose yourself. So I'd like to say that attitude, adversity quotient. So a person must have a good EQ, MQ, AQ. And this is a humanity education. Humanity education will train you to be good citizens, and you train you to have good EQ, MQ, and AQ. And recently I met a lot of alumni from American Chamberlain University. And most of these alumni are very successful entrepreneurs and everywhere in Taiwan. And I had an opportunity to talk to these alumni. I asked them, what do you think, what kind of education does the university have to give to the future students? Because these alumni, most of these alumni are graduates of the College of Engineering, engineers, and they are very successful in the enterprise. They are good engineers, and some of them are the owners of the big companies. So I've asked them, what kind of education do you think the Chamberlain University should give to these students? I thought that they will ask, and they will tell me that we should give them more education on fundamental physics or fundamental mathematics and so on. But I was surprised to hear that everybody told me that we should emphasize humanity education, so that they have good EQ, they have good MQ, and they have good AQ. Because if a person, young person, after graduation from colleges, if this person goes to a company, to work for a company, during the first year, yes, the professional training they receive in college education is very important. However, after a year or two, then everybody is on the equal basis, and their previous training is no longer matters. What matters is their AQ, their EQ, and MQ. So only the person who has good humanity and grounding, they have good EQ, they have good AQ, they can be promoted. But those people who have a very good engineering education, good engineering training, if they just can stare at the monitor, they can stare at the computer, they cannot stare at people, then these people can never succeed. So it's very important, it's more important to have good EQ, MQ, AQ. And also it needs to have the cross-disciplinary knowledge. Again, today's social problem, any problems in the world needs this cross-disciplinary knowledge. Needs the knowledge from different fields. For example, we're talking about the aging issue, the aging society issue. Aging society issue is not only a medical problem. It's an economic problem, it's a social problem, it's a political problem. And you need to have knowledge from all these different disciplines. So you have the knowledge from many different disciplines, then you can solve the problems much better than other people who have very narrow knowledge. So I encourage everybody to expose yourself to courses outside your own discipline. I often tell a story about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is one of the co-founders of Apple Computers. Everybody knows Apple Computers. I use Apple Computers for the last 20 years. Why I want to use Apple Computers? Because how do you build an Apple computer? When you see Apple computer, what strikes me the most? What strikes me the most? When you look at the Apple computer, the laptop computer, what strikes me the most compared to the other PC?
The design, the laptop
design. Right. My computer is much better looking than your computer. Apple computers. Yes, the design. The designs catch your eye immediately. So that you can beat PC, you can beat IBM computer. Why? Why the design is so beautiful? So Steve Jobs, a couple of years ago, gave a very touching speech in commencement in a small college. He told us a student a story. When he was a freshman in college, after the first semester, he felt that he was not interested in college. So he dropped out of university. But the university did let him keep the apartment, stay in the dorm. So that during that year, when he was not in school, officially a student, he attended all kinds of courses. He attended and audited many courses. But all of the courses he attended was art appreciation class. Art appreciation class. And he said later said that art appreciation class changed the whole world for him, because of that experience, he could design very good. He could appreciate art. He could design very beautiful looking computers. So without that experience, there would not have been an Apple computer. So there's the experience of the different disciplines. Different disciplines can have on one a person. So I really encourage you to have chance to attend lectures outside your own field, to attend all kinds and do all kinds of things, whatever you like, except surfing on the net whole night. I think that's not very good. But try to expose yourself to different experiences. Again, I often tell the story about the president of University of Southern California, where I worked for many years. The president of University of Southern California, Stephen Sample, he was the inventor of the touch panels on the microwave oven. The microwave oven that has used that you touch the panel and said 1 minute, 2 minutes, and so on. And it was invented by him. And he is an electrical engineer, but he became a university president very early in his life, in the 30s. Actually, in the late 30s, he became a university chancellor and later became a president. So he is a very strong leader, he has a very strong leadership quality. Why he has such a strong leadership quality? Because again, when he was young, he let himself have the opportunities to attend all kinds of classes outside of electrical engineering. And one year he wanted to take French class. And the dean of the engineering college did not want him to take French classes. And French is not useful for electrical engineering. Why do you want to take French? But he wanted to take French. So he made up a story, said that he wanted to go to France to work as an engineer. So he wants to take French class. And so the dean had to agree and to let him take French class. And later on, he said that the French class experience more important than in engineering class than to him, because they allow him to understand French cultures and to understand different foreign cultures. And that experience is very important. So I very strongly urge you to take the opportunity to acquire the knowledge and the experiences from different disciplines. And then the global citizen must have the ability to do teamwork. It's not sufficient to work on your own. And very frequently, now in today's society, everybody just stare at the computer, so you do not learn how to communicate with each other and to work with each other. Once two people having computers, even they sit next to each other, they don't talk to each other, but they send email. Hey, why don't you open your email? I just send you an email. But actually, you can just shout to another person and say, "Wait, what are you doing?" But people today don't do that. It's just a send email. So then that is not good. So you have to be ability to do teamwork, and you have the ability to communicate in each other, and particularly in the international language, and to communicate internationally. That means in today's society, it means English, and all of you sitting in this classroom must be interested in English, and that's a very good start. And so you have to be able to communicate in English, and it must be assertive and positive. And again, that is the quality people in Taiwan often lack. That is, we are not as assertive enough, and again, must have the leadership quality and entrepreneurship. And the Chenghong University graduates are often labeled as the industry's favorite graduates because we have very good and hardworking attitude. But in 21st century, that attitude alone, hardworking alone, is not sufficient. It's not sufficient. You have to be assertive. You must be willing to lead, willing to become an entrepreneur. That's only that can you succeed. Next slide, please. Okay. So what is the main purpose? So all this, we need to let our university become a global university. We need to train graduates and graduates to become good global citizens. So that's why we want to promote the internationalization, to promote the international experience. So what is the purpose of internationalization? Internationalization in the university, or I think we can say that this is a student mobility. Student mobility means the student exchange student, and those students go abroad. And also we welcome students from foreign countries to our university. And there's a student mobility. What is the purpose of this the student mobility? The purpose of exchange students, exchange learning experience. That is the first one. Of course, the cutting-edge science, technology, and scholarship. And we often go to the United States because the United States, the universities there have the highest the science, highest technology, and the science and the scholarship is strongest. So there's, of course, that's one of the main reasons to study abroad. But also, an important purpose is to learn and understand foreign cultures. And this culture experience actually is even more important than learning the new knowledge. In today's, in 30, 40 years ago, in my generation, most of the college graduates want to go to the United States and to study there because at that time, 30, 40 years ago, the disparity between the level of science in Taiwan and the level of science in the United States are so huge that everybody wants to go to the United States to learn new things. But today, that the disparity is not as apparent as in the past. So today's the main purpose of internationalization actually is to learn and understand foreign cultures. And that is actually from the other point of view, there's a welcome student for foreign countries, and then this foreign student, this international students actually bring their cultures to our university, and that's also that the students in our university, even though they did not have opportunities to go to foreign country, but they experience of mingling with foreign students, that experience is very, very critical, very, very important. So that to learn and understand foreign cultures can go in two ways. We can go outside to learn, and we can also welcome foreign students to our own country, and that bring the experience to us. and to facilitate international communication and establish personal contacts. That is when you study abroad, you work abroad, you establish many personal contacts. So in the future, when you come back to Taiwan or go to other countries, you bring another international networking. And then networking, again, is critical for your future success, whatever you want to do. So this personal contact is important. And that's why we worry today, because today many young people do not want to go to foreign countries. And of course, it's a good sign that our universities in general in Taiwan are so good that our universities, our graduate schools can train good scientists, good scholars, good workers. But if these students do not go to a foreign country to study, to visit, to work, then in the future, then we will not have enough personal contacts, international contacts, and then our economy, our industry would not prosper. So this is very important. And to upgrade the country's standing in international community, you have to get our accomplishment known. And the best way is to let people go out and that people from other countries to visit our university. And that is very critical. Next slide, please. So how do we do internationalization? Internationalization is bi-directional. We encourage our universities and faculty and students to visit and study abroad. We also encourage foreign scholars and students to study at NCKU. And so both are very important. We really strongly urge everybody to visit, to study in a foreign country. We don't encourage you to stay forever, whole life in the United States, even though I did that almost the entire life. I spent 40 years, 35 years in the United States. But I did come back. So we strongly encourage everybody to visit, study in a foreign country. I also encourage foreign students to our university. As a foreign president, I often heard a complaint that currently most of the foreign students do not have very high standard. The academic standing is not as good as the local students, and yet we give them scholarship. Well, that's not fair. That's not fair. I often heard this complaint, but people do not realize that it's important for university to have these international students. As I said, they bring in the international culture, foreign cultures. That is critical for the development, intellectual development, emotional developments of our students. So there are several terms, the brain drain. There is what happened 30, 40 years ago when most of elite college graduates went to the United States to study. So people decried that we are losing a lot of the country's best brains to foreign countries, brain drain. But it turns out that this brain drain is just a short-term phenomenon. Because just like 20 years later, 30 years later, many of these graduates came back to foreign countries, like that myself. And these are people that bring in a whole lot of the knowledge and experience back to Taiwan. And many of these people becomes the core of our country's economy or society or politics, whatever. So these are very important. So this becomes the brains now come back into our Taiwan, called the brain circulation. What we fear today is that the students, young people, do not go out. Now you stay your whole life, stay in Taiwan. Then that will create a phenomenon for brain stagnation. Then you just don't get the fresh ideas. So this is very important to have the internationalization. Next step is to encourage the student exchange, so-called student mobility. So how do we do it? Do we promote? How we promote internationalization in our university? Of course, we provide a financial assistance scholarship and do campus advertisement, active recruitment all over the world, and establish sister universities to exchange faculty and students. We established several so-called dual degree programs with several universities that the students, NCKU students, can study 2 years in NCKU, and then another 2 years in another university, like Case Western Reserve University or Southern Illinois University. Then this person can get degrees from Chengkung University as well as from Case Western Reserve University. Now, currently, there are 2 students from NCKU who are studying at Case Western Reserve University, and they are very happy. And there are also some other programs called with collaboration between NCKU and Temple. There's so-called 3+2 program. That is, a student can study 3 years in NCKU, and then another 2 years of graduate schools in Temple University. So 3+2. Then this student can get both degrees, master degrees from NCKU and from Temple University. So with all these kinds of incentive programs to encourage students to go to foreign countries. And of course, important is that we need to create internationally friendly environment, and so that international students can feel at home in NCKU. And this is not only the spoken English. Of course, now we can speak English. We can some of the courses are taught in English, but that is not sufficient. We need to have the totally immersed the English environment so that the international student will feel comfortable, and the local student also should feel comfortable in communicating with or interacting with this foreign student, so they feel welcome, they feel at home. And this is important. And student group discussion to promote local international student exchange. Again, that creates all kinds of activities to promote the understanding, mutual understanding between local students and international students. Next slide, please. Okay, so by the status of international students in our university, now we have almost 400 international students from 50 countries. The top 3 countries are Indonesia, Vietnam, and Canada, and 120 international scholars. So, and this is still a very, very small number. And most of the top universities in the world have like 10% to 20% of their students are international students. So we're still far from the goal. We have only 2% of populations, and student population in NCKU are international students. And our goal is that we will have in 2 years we'll have the double this number. And not even double this number, is only 4% of our student population. They're still way below the international student, the top level international universities. Currently, we have probably around 5% of courses taught in English. Again, that's still not enough. We need to do much better than that. Next slide, please. So again, in the course of promoting internationalization, I think there are several key issues which need to be solved. That we need to strengthen, promote communication between international students and home students. Again, people have the prejudice. Many of the students, international students, are from Southeast Asia, and some of them are not as good as our own students. So we tend to reject them. And so we don't want to understand the culture. That is not good. So we really need to actively promote interchange and interaction and the communication between international students and home students. And we need to internationalize the social environment, not only the English, but also the infrastructure. That way we can speak to them in English, the international students in English, but all the websites, most of the websites, all the official announcements from the university are in Chinese. in Mandarin, so the international student cannot understand it. And then we need to solve this kind of infrastructure problem before we really can open our doors to international students. And our curriculum on internationalization issues to benefit home students. Meaning, although we encourage students to visit foreign countries, but probably only a few percent of the students, maybe 10% at most of the students will have chance to visit a foreign country. So how about the rest of 90% of students? They do not have experience. They do not have opportunities to visit foreign countries. So we need to design the curriculum or design the activities to benefit international students. To discuss the international issues to benefit the homeless students. That those students who do not have opportunities to visit foreign countries still have the opportunities to be exposed internationally. And that's a very important issue. Next slide, please. So finally, I think that there are still several issues that need to be solved. I know that to promote internationalization, we still face many challenges. For instance, the motivation of local students to study abroad is currently still not high enough. In the Taiwan society is so prosperous, and after graduation you can easily get jobs, high-paying jobs. So you don't need to go abroad and to study what we did 30, 40 years ago. And this is fortunate, but also unfortunate. Fortunate means that our society is so prosperous, so good, that we can train our own workers, our own scientists, our own scholars. But the bad is that now we have the next generation of people will not have international experience. So we need to actively promote internationalization. And again, as I said, we still have an internationally friendly environment. Many of us cannot speak English very well, like the subpar English language skills. And furthermore, the campus infrastructures are still not very friendly to the international students. And the university name recognition is still not high enough. So at the moment, we cannot attract many high-quality students to our university. And that is what we are actively doing, is promoting NCKU, so that everybody recognizes that NCKU is a top-notch university. And it's difficult to establish long-term education or research collaboration. Currently, NCKU has signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, to establish sister universities with more than 100 universities. And yet, many of these MOUs are really just a piece of paper. They do not result in the actual collaboration, the education collaboration, student exchanges, or the research collaboration. And that is something we need to actively promote. So that's all I wanted to share with you. I feel that the internationalization is a very critical issue for the future of our society, for the future of our country. And we need to actively promote internationalization. And every student who sit in this classroom or outside the classroom also need to be actively involved in promoting internationalization, in actively interacting with foreign students, international students, and actively seek the opportunity to go abroad, to study abroad, even for a short period of time, because that experience is critical for your success as a global citizen in the 21st century. And thank you very much.
Anybody have questions for our president?
It's a great opportunity. We don't often have the opportunity to sit here and listen to the president's talk, or even have the opportunity to talk to the president. Does anybody who has questions, comments? Yes.
我想请问一下那个校长，就是那个学校交换学生的制度是怎么样的一个情况？
question is, what is the status of the international students exchange? What is the status? For as I said, we actively promoting, currently there are 400 international students on this campus. Our goal is to have 850 foreign students on this campus. And we want to increase the number of international students on this campus. We also have all kinds of scholarships, fellowships, to encourage NCKU students to study abroad. We cannot cover all the expenses, but we do have a scholarship, and that can help defray the cost of the tuition or travel expenses or living expenses also. We want to. There are many programs on this campus. As I said, there are many sister universities that have collaboration with Shanghai universities, so you can apply to them. You can get all the information about this student exchange program from the Office of International Affairs. Do I answer your question? Very good. I think I really encourage everybody to ask questions, and that's part of being assertive and part of being positive, and that's very important.
President, I'm a student of Material Science and Engineering Department. Here's my question. What's your viewpoint about that? The Taiwan's government do not acknowledge the Chinese diploma.
That's a political question. Well, I think this is too sensitive to answer the question in public at the moment. So this is, again, the issues, thorny issues in the internationalization, not only internationalization, but also the entire higher education. But as I said, that to every issue, every problem involves so many different aspects. So this is not just an academic question. It's a political question, economic questions. Because once you recognize a diploma from mainland China, there are many, many issues, and political issues, social issues, economic issues, that need to be taken into consideration before you decide to do one way or another.
First of all, I would like to thank you for your wonderful speech. I will ask you some not so sensitive questions. Okay, as a family member, I'm very happy to hear that as a president now you want to promote or try to encourage both faculty and students to go or visit abroad. So I'd like to take this opportunity to speak to give a suggestion. Actually, I have some opportunity to go abroad for some international conference, but the problem is that sometimes it's very hard for us to get a full funding from whether the MOE or the NSC. Although now currently the school has some policy that there are some funding for you to apply for. Still, for example, our chairperson. Dr. Liu has already helped me to get funding to attend some international conference to be held in the United States last year. But finally, I failed because there are some problems. So I would like to suggest the president, could you, just follow the current system in Canada or America? They say for postgraduate student and faculty member, every year there's some quota. Some budget appropriate for this kind of special purpose. So no matter what kind of international conference you want to go to, there is some budget for you to apply for. So this is my wish. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think this is not a very sensitive issue, but it's an economically sensitive issue. Because our university does not have so much money. But we do have a lot of money to support students. And support students or faculty members to attend international conferences. You can apply for this money, because we encourage you to apply for outside fundings from MOE or National Science Council. But in addition to that, the university does have additional funding to support it. I don't know your specific case of why you didn't get the money, but we're trying to solve the problem. We're trying to work with every faculty and every student and to solve their problem. And this is our policy. I know that individual cases do vary, and there are for various reasons. But we're trying to work with you as much as possible.
Hi. Naturally, I think that your goal is very important. And me and I imagine other students as well would love to help. I would like to ask you how a student in NCKU can help NCKU become more international, more globalized.
Thank you for volunteering to help the university. I think first thing is the brand name recognition. So as an international student, which country are you from?
Israel.
Okay. So as an international student, you have the opportunities to let other people, your fellow students, or friends, know about the universities. So this is the most important thing. I think to attract international students, there's a major part of the efforts by personal contacts, by mouth and spread of the information. That's also a critical part. Although university can do a lot of official visits to foreign countries, and that's not enough. If you have a friend who study in this university, then you can be attracted to that. So as an international student, you help and you hope that you can help the university by spreading the word to promote the university's branding recognition. Thank you for volunteering this.
But I don't have a question, but I just want to respond to this student from Israel. Right, I'm the chair of the Foreign Languages and Literature Department, and we have a team responsible for promoting, for creating an English-friendly learning environment. So one of this project is to, one program of this project is the English Corner. So very specifically, you are strongly encouraged to join us. Right? We do need as many international students and scholars, as many as possible, to participate, to become facilitators for the English Corner. So if you are interested, please talk to me later. Right? We do need facilitators. So in Chinese, I would like to explain to the students. 我们成英计划里面有一个非常重要的活动，就是有一个叫做英语角啊，知道人举手，英语角，来 ，OK， 你们有没有参加过英语角？有参加过的举手，英语角 ，OK， 那个是从星期一到星期三每天中午星期一、三、五每天中午在休息大楼那边都有举行就是我们有我们的国际同学来参加当这个 facilitator， 然后来带领大家做很多的讨论。那从这学期开始呢，我们就增加了一项以前都是比较是日常生活的，那现在开始呢，我们每一周有一次是做时事讨论，就开始去深化。那从5月份开始，我们会增加在医学院以及这种图书馆那边会有一个机动性的那个英语角，变成走动式的英语角。那这个英语角的话呢，就是主要就是由我们的国际生还有我们的国际学者来做讲者，来带领大家做英语的讨论。这是一个最实际上的，除了课堂以外，大家能够参加的，也是我们国际生我们最需要国际生的那个部分。Thank you.
By the way, one thing, when speaking of Israel, our university does want to promote more interaction with Israel. As you know, Aaron Chikanova is our faculty member, and I am the senior vice president, who will be visiting Technion in a couple months.
Well, I guess we need a lot to think about today. I personally have a lot of food for thought. Our president has set a very clear goal for our university education. And I think that I don't know about you, I personally is motivated to work hard, geared to that direction. I think that we encourage everybody to go for that direction. I know you might have more questions or comments to make, but we have limited time, so you're welcome to write comments to us, and we will forward your comments or questions to our president. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give another round of applause to our president. Thank you. Thank you. 我们献花。